Yo, what's up? It's Juice. Thanks for tuning in. This is the delayed release of Week Two's Fitness Friday, where I'm going to give you guys some preliminary thoughts and guide rails for programming at the novice level, right? So, I think the framework that I want to establish has two rules basically. And the first rule is that we want to maximize longevity, and what that means is don't get injured basically, right? So anytime you feel sharp stabbing pain in your joints, you need to stop and rest, assess your body, reduce the weight, reassess, see if the pain is the same or easier. If you think you can get through the workout at a reduced level of intensity, I always advocate for looking for ways to prevent injury. And along that vein, we want to be prioritizing good form over heavy weight. You don't want to be cheating reps, especially if you're a beginner. You want to learn all the movement patterns. You want to learn it, nail it down, and that way you're not kind of starting at a deficit. And when you start to ramp things up, then the castle won't be built on sand, but bedrock, right? So prioritize form over weight, prevent injury, and this also has the added benefit of helping you to hit the intended muscle groups, right? So if you're cheating reps and you're using other muscle groups to facilitate, eking out more and more reps, but then you don't even know really what specific muscle groups you're hitting, and if you aren't seeing the progress that you want to make, I would always go back to form. All right, and then number two, be consistent, right? Unless you're dying, unless it's impossible for you to get to the gym, get your ass in the gym, and do something, right? This is going to change from day to day. You could be sick, you could be feeling sore, achy. It's hard to consistently give 100%, right? But focusing on consistency is going to be the best way to make sure that you're not leaving any gains on the table. I think kind of a cool way to think about things is through the law of averages, right? So if you work moderately hard, let's say 70 to 80% of your maximum capacity for 2 days, that's comparable and more than likely more beneficial than working extremely hard 90 to 100% for 1 day and then resting the next. This means that it's okay to have days where you get to the gym, start your workout, and then realize that you can't handle the workload, right? In these situations, you should lower your RPE targets, rate of perceived exertion, so basically how hard you feel like you're working, by at least 20 to 30%, or scrap everything in favor of something that you like doing and are willing to push yourself hard on. So if you go in for a leg day, you try to hit some squats and it's just not working, scrap everything. Do some abs, do some biceps, do some cardios, and then come back and see how you're feeling. If you get a second wind, you can always slowly ramp up intensity as you need. And I think if you abide by these two rules, it's almost an inevitability that you're going to gain muscle and get stronger, because there's no universe in which you consistently follow a workout routine and don't get stronger or put on muscle, given that you're eating at a caloric surplus and progressively overloading how much weight you're moving, right? I think another thing that's a derivative of abiding by these rules, but also fitness in general, is that you're going to feel more confident going into the gym. I know when I was a beginner, you kind of have a little bit of anxiety. It's a new place. There are lots of people that are bigger than you that know what they're doing, and you don't necessarily know what you're doing, or maybe you do, but it's still a new element. And the more that you gain exposure and go into the gym, the more confident you're going to feel, the more kind of momentum you're going to have, right? And then finally, you're going to learn a lot about your body, and the fun really begins when you know how you can actually predict how your body's going to respond to exercises, and so you can start optimizing your recovery. And once you hit that sweet spot, you can literally cruise and go to the gym every day, and feel like $1,000,000, right? But along the way, in the beginning of the journey, it's likely that you're going to be extremely sore at some point, right? During these times, it's really important to figure out what works for you recovery wise, right? Using cold showers to reduce inflammation, massage guns, foam rolling, static stretches after you lift, dynamic stretches before you lift, eating more, drinking more, sleeping more. Those three are kind of my three silver bullets when it comes to not meeting your goals in the gym. If everything else fails, eat more, drink more water, sleep more. Um, and those have done good by me. So that's kind of like an overview of things that you should be thinking about if you're just getting started on your fitness journey. I have a couple of dietary principles that I am still working through. But in general, if you're feeling tired, you need to eat more. Um, you could also do less cardio or do fewer exercises. And then conversely, if you're trying to lose weight, you need to eat less and or do more cardio, right? So those are kind of like the simplified version of um, two things that two things that you can regulate through dietary interventions, right? If you're unsure if you should cut or bulk, I always suggest that you bulk for at least a month and then reassess. Um, if you find that you don't like feeling fluffy, you can always dial back the calories week by week until you hit somewhere that you feel comfortable. But I find that it's a lot easier to bulk for a good amount of time and then cut down, especially for a novice where you're going to get a lot of body recomposition um, in that early stage. I think next you can kind of think about dietary priorities to facilitate body recomp, right? So are you gonna focus on losing more fat or gaining more muscle, right? If you're trying to gain more muscle, you're gonna need, 1 to 1.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, right? So let's say you're 210, 210 pounds, then that's going to mean you're going to need to be consuming between 115 grams of protein. Actually, probably less, right? That's 115 is 1.2 of 210. So 1 is 105. So you need 105 grams of protein to 172 grams of protein in that example. Also, you need to be drinking a lot more water than you think you should. And then you can incorporate superfruits and citrus to help reduce inflammation, greens, and carbs and natural fats, right? So in order of priority, protein is king, water is like right on the same level, then fruits and greens, then carbs and natural fats. Um, and then sometimes people are asking, should I supplement? I think in general, I mean, there's no consensus on this. There are lots of different camps, but I think the supplement industry doesn't have enough regulation and oversight for me personally to feel confident in just prescribing anybody to hop on a whole host of supplements, especially when you can get a lot of the micro and macronutrients that you need in your you know natural diet, right? I think if you nail your diet and you're looking to like improve athletic performance, or you're competing and you're using fitness as a vehicle to compete against others, then you can start experimenting with supplementation after you've kind of established a baseline. I think my guiding ethos has always been less is more, right? You don't need to buy $100 worth of supplements. You can get great results from just, whey protein isolate and creatine monohydrate. And, you can buy 2 to 4 months supply for like $100. So, multiply that by 3. And that's being very conservative, right? So, $300 a year, that's literally less than $1 a day on supplements. And then there are some things that I feel like just aid performance in general, right? Exercise makes you feel good, releases dopamine, serotonin. If you finish a really hard workout, all those neurotransmitters contribute to you feeling good. Fasting is also really good for flushing out the system, and depending on how long you go, you can get some benefits of autophagy. Cold therapy, cold showers, all that stuff reduces inflammation. Cod liver oil, heat therapy, low carb diets, getting zinc, vitamin B1, probiotics, magnesium. So foods that have all these things are going to contribute to you feeling better. Sunlight, plant-based phytonutrients, high choline foods, egg yolks, organ meat, fish, grass-fed animal products, sleep. You know, all these things will make you feel better in the long run. And you know, everybody's list is going to be different. So as you kind of plug and play and experiment with new things, what works for you might not work for other people, but also what works for you might be something that other people haven't explored. So I always advocate people to take agency in figuring out what works best for their body. And then finally, I guess I'll just kind of talk about weekly scheduling, and then kind of call it a day. Yeah, so I think in general, if you're a complete noob going to the gym, you can either go 3 days a week or 6 days a week. If you're going to go 6 days a week, I'd make the session shorter. So, maybe an hour. If you're going to go 3 days a week, an hour or more. And it might be a little bit difficult to do 6 days a week full body, but you could definitely do 6 days a week push-pull legs. So an example could be, Monday you do legs, Tuesday you do push, Wednesday you do pull. If you're feeling tired, have your break day there. If you're not feeling tired, keep going, do legs, push, pull again, and then rest on Sunday. If you're thinking about a 3-day push-pull legs, you could do legs Monday, rest day, push Wednesday, rest day, pull day Friday, rest day Saturday, Sunday. But all of those 3 days are going to be a lot more intense than if you were doing a 6-day, right? So, and I think this is also, a lot of the programming considerations will be affected by your unique circumstances. So it's hard to kind of just prescribe any one type of schedule. But I tend to be an advocate of doing more frequent training. I just find that I can get more volume in. So I try to hit 6 to 7. Well, I try to hit 7 days, right? But maybe my average over a year is, around 6 days a week. So yeah, that will kind of wrap things up for Fitness Friday. Again, sorry that I didn't get this out on Friday. But we're going to keep on going. Alrighty. Thank you guys. Stay juicy.